Hello, everyone, and welcome to Stash Chats. I believe this is episode 36, but I don't know, I'm losing count now, but we've got loads and loads of amazing episodes with loads of different members of the sewing community. So do check out the playlist on our YouTube channel if you need to catch up on previous episodes. If you're joining us live, please do join in the chat. Let us know who you are and where you're joining from. And also if you've got any questions for our guest tonight. So as usual, we'll be chatting sewing journey, how they got into sewing, what their personal stash is like, because I just really want to get those stashes out there. We're beating the stash shame out here on Stash Hub. So yeah, we're going to see our guest stash and then we're going to hear a bit about their business. So if you've seen our posts tonight, I'm going to be joined by Deb from Me Made Makes. So we'll get her on in a minute, but while we wait for a couple more people to join, I'll just tell you a few updates. So thank you everyone for bearing with us last week. There wasn't an episode of Stash Chats last week because Doug and I were away. We took our first holiday since starting the business, which was really lovely and really exciting. So I'm sure I'll tell you more about that soon. Don't want to hog up all of Deb's chat time with that. And we're going to have a really exciting new update to Stash Hub next week. So keep your eyes peeled for that as well if you use the app. And there's going to be loads of challenges coming up in June as well. So if you've seen any challenges, do send them over to me. And I'm going to do a challenge roundup on the 1st if you need any sewing inspiration for the month. But anyway, let's get my rambling over with and get our amazing guest on. So let's bring in Deb from Me Made Makes. Hello, Deb. Thanks for joining.
Right.
Yeah, how's it going?
All right.
Brilliant.
Good.
So do you want to busy? So is that with your business?
Yeah, been really busy couple of days.
Amazing. I feel like it's always quite, good to hear with small businesses when they're like, oh, I've been really busy. That's awesome. So do you want to just kick off by telling us a little bit about yourself, what you like to make, what your business is, just the basics, the short.
Yeah, don't let me ramble on too much because I can. So yeah, my name's Deb. Obviously I'm from up here in the northeast. So I'm primarily a bag maker. Well, I am a bag maker, although I do and have sewn other things. My love is bag making, and it has been for about the last 8 to 10 years, I would say. But I started sewing when I was around about 17. My mother-in-law taught me to sew, because back then, when you're 17 and pregnant, there wasn't the maternity wear like there is now. You couldn't go into Asda or any of the hip shops and buy maternity wear. It was in places like Marks and Spencer's, and and I was 17. A, I couldn't afford Marks and Spencer's, and B, I didn't want to wear Marks and Spencer's. I was only 17-year-old, and money was a big issue. So yeah, so my mother-in-law taught me to sew so that I could basically make myself some elasticated trousers that fit me in the leg and went round my bump, and I thought it was the bee's knees. And I made so many of these pairs of trousers. I had them in all the colours. And then when my children came along, I sewed for my children when they were little. And then I had a big gap because I had young children and I worked. So sewing, fell by the wayside, as it does for a lot of us. And then when I sort of came back to sewing as the kids got older, I was kind of sewing different things. I wouldn't sort of say I had a love for any one particular thing. And then I came across Sean on YouTube, her tutorial for the NCW. And I thought, well, I'm going to give that a go. And that is where my love for bag making started. And I've been a bag maker ever since.
Amazing. That's really exciting. I feel like there's quite a lot of people have a similar sort of story as well, where when they were about to have kids or they first had their kids, they got a sudden sort of wave of inspiration to try something new. So that's really cool. And it's good that you're able to use your sewing skills for your kids as well.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're nearly 30 now, my eldest two. So it was a very long time ago. But obviously I don't think they'd wear anything that I made now. But because it wouldn't be, you know, their thing. But you know, I've made them some bags and what have you. They do like that, but like clothes wise, you know, as they get older, they don't want the handmade things, do they, so much.
It's really
so things
hard to make clothes for other people as well, isn't it? Like, just because you've got to fit it on them, and I don't know. I think people don't understand the whole sort of like, if you make it just straight from the packet, it's probably not going to fit you. So I'll have to test, fit it on you, then make another one. And I think people don't sort of appreciate the process if they haven't done it themselves.
Definitely not. And I think as well, I think that's kind of where I came away from making clothes for myself, is because I've always had issues with my weight, and I just didn't like making things for the size that I am. Where bags always fit me.
Yeah.
And bags always make me feel nice. And I am getting back into dressmaking a little bit. Somebody who shall remain nameless but has just commented hi both in the comments is pushing me or slightly bullying me into getting back into dressmaking and utilising my sewing skills to be, you know, a little bit more body positive and embrace my shape. And because, you know, buying off the peg for plus size isn't ideal either. So I am being pushed back into the dressmaking side a little bit.
We'll say encouraged.
It's just Mel said she loves my hair. It's actually a state tonight. I've literally just got out of the bath. That's why I'm a little bit flushed. That's menopause too. But yeah, it's literally just been washed and left. So it's a little bit of a mess, but thank you. I do appreciate that.
You've got 2 comments loving your hair, so I feel like you got to own it. You've got to be like, yes.
Yeah. It'll be better tomorrow. It's always better on the second day.
Yeah, that's fairly hair.
Yeah, 100%.
Let's say hi to who else is in the chat. Hi, Sheila. And yeah, hi, Mel and Emma. Thanks for joining us tonight. Mel is coming straight in with, what's your new project, Deb?
I don't know what you means by that. My new project?
Have you got something you're currently working on?
I'm always working on things. Oh, getting into dressmaking. That might be what you means.
Dressmaking project, yeah.
I always just automatically go to business because you're always in work mode, aren't you? So I bought 2 patterns when I was at the Stitch Festival with Emma, which is where I got chatting to you. And it was the Zoe from Emporia Patterns. And I can't remember the name of the pattern, but it was a dungaree pattern from Tilly and the Buttons.
Yeah.
But I think I'm going to go with the Zoe to make up, just because I think the fit will be a little bit easier. You know, I think like the way that looks like it's constructed, so clever. So I think adjustments around the upper area will be easier to make than, you know, going into full bust adjustments and stuff like that. And obviously those patterns are designed for people who are maybe a little bit more curvy and voluptuous, so shall we say. So I need to kind of figure out some fabric, because my stash is all bag making stash.
Yeah, you don't really want a big canvas dress.
Yeah. But all of my fabrics I tend to buy in meter lengths, because as a bag maker, you know, you don't need 3-4 meters. You know, even a meter, you're likely to get a couple of bags out of a meter with, you know, different patterns. So I tend to buy in meter lengths, unless it's something I really, really love, and then I buy what's on the board because I do get 4 more. But so I need to have a little bit think about a fabric for that project.
Exciting.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure, I feel like, well, in my mind anyway, sewing bags, like the skills and techniques you need are like more involved than the skills and techniques you need for dressmaking. So I feel like you'll have the technique down. It's just like practicing the fitting and using different fabrics.
I think it'll be not wanting to interface everything as well.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, as bag makers, everything's so structured, you know, you interface everything within an inch of its life, you know. And obviously, because I sew on industrials, I don't ever have to really think about whether my machine can handle it, or, you know, whether it's too thick for my machine or anything like that. So I think that's where I'll have to do a little bit of a reset and think, no, this does not need interface. This needs to drape. This does not need to be sort of standing upright on its own like you would need a bag to do.
Everything's so floppy and easy. You're going to feel like, what's this?
I know. I'm sure I'll be messaging Emma loads, going, Emma, like, I need your help.
Well, I feel like Emma can sew anything, because if you can sew a Chewbacca costume,
exactly.
Sew anything. But yeah, we chatted to Emma. I chatted to her quite early on. That was episode 4 when we were still doing it on Instagram. So it was really interesting to hear about Emma's sewing journey as well. Right, should we talk a little bit about your stash? How would you describe your stash?
Extensive. Maybe it's a little bit out of hand. like we all do. But yeah, like I said before, most of my fabrics is all in like 1 meter lengths, unless it is something that I really, really love, and then I will buy more. But it is primarily vinyls and cottons. That tends to be what I work in. I am discovering a love of wool and wool blends lately. I did some tweed bags recently. I did a luggage set. I wanted to make a luggage set, and I made them in tweed and reclaimed leather. Anything like that, it'll be on there's pictures on my Instagram and stuff. People can go and check them out. But yeah, that really ignited a love of wool and wool blends. So when I'm looking now, I'm really getting drawn to fabric like that. I've just seen Melanie comment saying, "How's your hardware stash?" That is hilarious, because
stop end and the stash start.
It doesn't. Yeah, that's also a little bit out of control, Melanie. Overtakes quite a big area, shall we say. Yeah, that is also extensive and ever growing, always growing.
So do you have like a favorite like piece of hardware? Like, are you like,
I wouldn't say like type of hardware. I have a favorite color. I'm always gravitating towards brushed brass, but again, I think that's because I'm really loving the wool effect fabrics, and I love vinyls, and my favorite colors are like green and blue, and the brushed brass always tends to go really well with those colors and the type of fabrics that I pick. So I always have, for like me personally, if I buy things for me, I'll always buy them in that color. Or if I'm testing something out to bring into the business and I buy it so that I can test it in a bag, I'll always buy it in that color first, because I know I'll use it.
So it's a good plan. I love having like favorites, and then you just know where you are with that. Like, I'm very much a fan of the greens and blues as well, because that's like my wardrobe colors.
Yeah. Well, I had my colors done recently, and all of the colors that I love were ones that it said to avoid.
Oh, this is my fear with the.
I just went, no, I'm not listening to it. Like, I don't care.
Oh no!
It's still sitting on top of my printer. I'm like, nah, I'm not listening.
Oh no! What colors did they suggest for you then?
Like summer colors, which so actually like this sort of color, which I would never normally wear. But yeah, the main color was pink, and I am not a pink person. I was like, what? And like yellows and light greens, where I would always wear sort of really earthy greens or emerald greens. So yeah, I just went, no, I'm not listening to that.
Out the window.
Yeah.
Oh no, nightmare.
It was like the worst colour to wear was mustard. I was like, well, I'm just not listening to that, because I love mustard. It's not happening.
Oh gosh. We've got lots of support for your dressmaking in the chat. So Emma says she'll help
Oh,
where they can, and Natalie recommends cashmere for different cups.
yeah, I have heard of them as well. So I'm going to dip my toes with these couple of patterns and get a feel for how. Oh, Emma's saying she's not convinced by the colour thing either. I'm just not convinced at all. I'm just not listening to it.
I feel like pink would clash with your hair as well. So I don't know where that
I
came.
mean, obviously the hair's totally natural as well. So I've got to go with, what the natural hair colour is. So yeah, I'm just not listening to it. I'm going to go with what I like, whether it suits me or not. So,
Yeah. Sheila says, how is your shoe collection?
Also a little bit out of hand. Also has a lot of green and blues. Yeah. I do love shoes. Sorry?
Got to tie it all together.
Yeah. But again, when the weight fluctuates, shoes tend to fit, as do handbags. So, you can spend more on shoes because, a couple of stone here or there and they still fit.
Get rid of them in the next year, yeah. And also the more you have, then they don't get worn out. So then you have your great collection.
You can spread the wear.
Because I'm really bad at like getting a pair of shoes and then I really like them, but then I wear them all the time and then they get trashed and then I can't buy them anymore and then you can't find comfy ones again and it's really annoying.
I do the same. When I got married in December and we went up to Scotland for our mini moon. I mean, who goes to like the Highlands of Scotland in December? It was absolutely Baltic. It was raining, it was free, but we loved it. It was fabulous. And I bought some Harris tweed while I was up there. And we went into a charity shop, and as we walked in, there was a pair of green ruby shoes, and they were the exact ones that I'd wanted in navy for my wedding, and they were brand new, still with the tags on. And I literally would have, pushed women and children out of the way to get to these shoes if anybody had even gone for them. So yeah, that was one. After the Harris tweed was my second favourite memento from my honeymoon, was bringing back a pair of totally unworn, beautiful shoes out of a charity shop. And I've worn them loads since.
That's really good. And then they're like linked to that memory of your mini moon and your wedding as well. So that's really nice.
And they go with all of my bags because a lot of my bags are green and, so.
Excellent.
Win-win.
We've got another pattern recommendation from Natalie, which is the Roscoe blouse from True Bias.
Right.
Because it's really nice and like floaty. So it doesn't, if you kind of lose or gain weight, you can just always be comfortable.
And I think one of the things as well that I'm having to find going through menopause and stuff, it's having things that are a little bit looser, but not things that then when you're a little bit bigger that make you look larger. So it's getting things that look nice and accentuate your figure, but keep you cool. And I mean, obviously fabric choice is a big thing in that, but very fitted fabric doesn't work for me currently.
Yeah, it's getting something like drapey and nice as well, like structured.
Yeah, like I'll wear summer clothes in the winter because I'm like,
I've never been like one of those people who switches out my wardrobe for like winter clothes and the summer clothes, because I've heard a lot of people saying, oh, I've been switching my wardrobe recently, but I always think that's a bit ambitious to do in the UK because the weather's always up and down anyway.
I mean, could you imagine lately if we tried to do that? We would have done it about 7 or 8 times in the last 3 weeks alone. I mean, especially up here. I mean, we've had blazing sunshine, then rain, then blazing sunshine again, and now it's torrential downpour. Like, I don't know, like I'm hoping like the sound's not coming through because it's absolutely lashing against the windows. So I'd have literally swapped my wardrobe around 3 times today.
Yeah, just in one day.
Yeah. Oh.
You've always got to keep at least a jumper and a raincoat handy, whatever season it is.
Well, I don't actually have like a great deal of clothes, so all of mine just stay in my wardrobe, and I just get out what I fancy wearing and what the weather suits anyway. So, to be fair, I work at home, so it's usually pajamas. if I'm totally honest.
Stay nice and comfy.
Yes.
And if you need to go out with a fun outfit, you can always just mix it up with some different shoes and a cool bag. So it's all good.
Yeah. And if I'm recording, sometimes I'll just change the top.
Yeah, definitely.
Little secret there, if anybody watches any of my videos, I've probably got pajama bottoms on. I haven't today, this is a dress.
Right, how do you like to shop? Do you prefer to shop in person or do you buy stuff online?
I do both, but I do really love to shop in person because I love going and discovering places. So we're quite lucky here. We do have a few quite good fabric shops close about. Obviously, we've got First for Fabrics, which isn't far away, which Tamlin from Sewn on the Tyne works at. And then we've got BST, which isn't far away either, which are both really quite good fabric shops. And then both do online as well. So if I'm really busy with work, I know I can go online and order online, and I know the quality because I've been there and what have you. But I am a one for a little bit of an adventure. So I do just like going places, and me and the hubby will think nothing of just jumping in the car and going out for the day and driving 3 hours. And it usually does involve going somewhere that I've seen that has a fabric shop that I want to go to.
Does he know this ahead of time, or you're like, oh look, there just happens to be a fabric shop here?
No, sometimes I'll be getting ready and I'll just sort of like text him. Sometimes like from the bathroom, just like, how you said about going out for the day. Well, is such and such too far? And he usually gives in. So yeah, so we'll go. We'll just go wherever, or like sometimes if we want to go out for the day, it'll sometimes be planned around fabric shops that I want to go and visit, and he just sort of trudges along and carries all the wares. But I like doing that because especially if those places do like have online facilities as well, I know that I can then purchase online from them because I do love to support small business, obviously being a small business myself. But I know the quality and I know the types of things that they have. But I mean, I do use some online places that, I haven't visited before, and I'll go off, recommendations from other people and that sort of thing. So I'd say it's a bit of a mixed bag. I tend to go for, if somebody's got something I love and I really want, and it's online, I've not shopped with them before, I'll take a risk and keep everything crossed and hope for the best.
Exciting. Have you ever received anything that's like completely not what you're expecting?
When I first got back into sewing, I did do quite a bit of online shopping, and I did get sort of things that I thought were one thing, and then when it came, it was something different. But I think that was more just my lack of understanding about fabrics back then. Like I'd order double gauze, thinking it was sort of, like stretchy jersey, terry type, and it came up with something totally different. So yeah, I think it was more just sort of lack of understanding with what I was ordering as opposed to what I would actually be getting. But I do, if I'm ordering something, I do look into what I'm ordering, and if I'm unsure, then I'll message and ask, and so yeah. I haven't recently had any major surprises or disappointments or anything like that, to be fair.
Yeah, that's really good. I think as well, like if you buy from small businesses, they're always so happy to help. So if you message them and you're not sure about fabric, they'll be able to give you some advice.
Yeah.
Really good.
Well, I've just discovered one of the printing places today because I can't remember. I had bought another dressmaking pattern. It was the Kilo wrap dress by Named Patterns. I saw that and I thought, oh, I'm going to buy that as well and have a go at that. And then I started to print it out and I was like, oh, life's too short. And especially running my own business, I just don't have the time to stick a printed PDF, not that big anyway. And it was on another group. I'd seen somebody recommend them and I thought, oh, I'm going to go on and I was like, this is just life changing. Just being able to go on, click, and it'll get sent to you.
Yeah.
So I think I'll actually do that with a lot of my bag patterns, especially the ones where there's a lot of pieces, just get them printed and sent out, because I think it'll make life a lot easier.
Yeah, I hate sticking together A4s. It's too annoying. I just get everything printed easier.
Yeah. But obviously with bag making, you know, I can't remember the last time I bought a printed pattern, you know, but because most bag making patterns, I mean, I know that you do get some that, you know, do offer printed, but, you know, most of the patterns I have are PDF and are on my computer. So I do spend a lot of time printing off patterns and sticking them together. And
I guess with a bag, it tends to be smaller generally, so it's not as many sheets to stick.
Yeah. I mean, there's some that you can print off, stick together, and you're done in like 10, 15 minutes, which is fine. But there are others that are much more complex, or if they've got a couple of different sizes and what have you, that I've thought, yes, this is the way that I'm going to be going from now on, will be printed patterns.
Yeah. It's definitely one of those necessary luxuries, getting your PDFs printed for you.
But when you think about, they weren't that expensive. And if you kind of, you know, for me, if I equated my time in money, if I was taking my time out of work to do that, it's much more cost effective for me to get it printed and sent out to me. If I think about that's how I'm justifying it anyway.
Yeah, no, that definitely makes sense. I had a colleague at one of my jobs, and at the time I was like, you know, quite young, and they had been working for a while, so they very much had this like time is money mentality, and they were like, I'm not doing this like the, you know, I'll just pay for this because of the amount of that my time is worth. And I was just like, wow, I've never thought about it like that before. Yeah. It does make perfect sense, and especially if you're running your own business, because like, you know, everyone knows that there's so much to juggle that just like putting unnecessary additional tasks on yourself is just not worth it.
Yeah, it's just anything to make life a little bit easier and give yourself just that little bit of time back, because more time back means more sewing.
Exactly. Yeah, you don't want to be putting sellotape on things and trying like
filling your stash more
hats and all this. It's just like, no, let's get it done. Sheila says that they also love the kilo wrap dress and life's too short for PDFs. Agree.
Yeah. I just thought with the kilo, because I'm quite comfortable with like knitted fabrics as well, and I've got an overlocker and stuff. And I thought that looks really flattering.
Yeah.
Make it in sort of something that's still fairly lightweight. That will be, you know, be quite good over the summer. And I like the arm length because it covers the tops of the arms, and it looked like a winner to me.
Yeah, definitely. I've made one, and like because you could wrap it in different ways as well. Like you could wrap it around the front or around the back, and you can like loosen how tight you tied it if you eat too much or you've got bloated day or something.
Yeah, well, I thought it'd be quite good for a holiday cover as well. You know, just tied the once at the front.
Yeah, so you can like adjust how it looks and how tight it is and stuff. Because it's jersey as well, it's always going to be comfy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good choice. Right, shall we see some of the things you've brought to show us?
Yes. So do you want makes first or some of my stash?
Let's do a few makes first, shall we?
No problem. So I'll show you this one first, because this is the Mr. Heckles by Sincerely Jen. I can never work out which way I need to go with the camera.
I'll put you on full screen and then we can see it in all its glory.
So I pulled this out because this is probably the quickest turnaround I've ever had between buying fabric and sewing it up. Because I think we all buy fabric and think, oh, that would be great for something. And then it sits in my stash for, you know, however long. And this I bought, and within a couple of weeks it was made up. And these two fabrics were bought to go together as well. I saw them at the same place and they were bought to go together. And I just, I loved it. And I think, is it in here? Oh, it is. I made myself an NCW surprisingly to go with it.
Amazing.
That's always my like go-to. And then this one I made recently as part of the like a sew along within my like Patreon group. We do like once a week we get together and we sort of do live sew along, and we do a different pattern each month. And it just means that we can kind of really slow it down because we break it down over the weeks. So it's not as sort of sped up, if that makes sense. You know, you can break each part of the bag down. And this is the Jade by Moments by Liz. And I just love how simple it is. Like it just, and again, this is like a wool blend, which is one of my favorite types at the moment. And I love to do plain on the outside and then party on the inside. That's kind of like my signature thing is, you know, I keep it sort of simple and classy and then go all out on the inside.
Got that fun pop, but it's still really wearable and you can use it for occasions.
Mm-hmm.
That's really cool.
Yeah, so they're two that I've made up recently. And then this fabric here, I've pulled out like a sort of bit of it. This is a little bit of a funny story with this one. So I did a retreat earlier on, earlier on this year in March. And we always go to the market in sewcials because Emmanuel's go to the market there on a Saturday. So we always go to the market and, you know, increase with stash quite dramatically usually. And I wanted some green vinyl because I didn't have any and I'd been really struggling to find a green that I liked. And I'd messaged them and said, look, I'm going to be coming over on Saturday to the market. Do you have any green vinyl in stock? If you do, could you bring it with you? So he sent me a picture of two, and this was the second one. And I was like, oh my God, I absolutely love that second one. Like, I really love it. And I said, will you bring it with you? I said, I'll pay for it now, like bank transfers. Because you know what people are like, oh yes, I definitely want it. You bring it over, then they don't show up and, you know. So I didn't want them to think I was wasting the time. So I said, I'll pay for it now if you want. And then if you can bring it over. And he was like, well, how much of it do you want? And I said, well, how much of it have you got in stock? And he went, oh, about 5 meters. And I was like, yeah, I'll just have that. So I've got 5 meters of this vinyl because I just loved it so much. It's now standing up in my garage. So that isn't in the normal stash. That's in like the out of control stash in the garage. But yeah, so there'll be lots of green bags in my future, I think.
I was going to say lots of plans.
Yeah, it was just like, yeah, I'm gonna have it all. That was definitely a FOMO thing because I'd bought some previously from them and I'd only bought 1 meter and then they'd never brought it back and didn't have any more. And it was just, I loved it and I was just so gutted that I'd only ever bought the 1 meter. So I thought I'm never going through that again. So
yeah. So now you've got all of it. Amazing.
Yeah. And then I've brought this one, which is a velvet.
Ooh,
which
nice.
I don't normally work in. And I picked this one up because it's green and it's kind of leafy print. I love a leafy print. And I saw it and I was just like, I've got to have it. Like, it's just beautiful. But it's one of those ones where the print on it's so big and then I just love it. So, and I don't want to cut into it. You know, those fabrics that you get that I just like to get it out every now and then and stroke it. And yeah, but I need to make something out of it. I just don't know what.
Yeah, I think it needs to be something big, doesn't it? To show off that print.
I mean, I might make another like weekend type bag out of it. And the one that I made with the tweed fabric, the Tribbiani Traveller, I like that one because it's mainly one big piece. You're not putting lots of different pieces together. So if you've got a big print, it works really well because, you know, you can show off the print. So it'll probably end up being another one of those, probably with some of that green vinyl so that I can get it used up. But it actually that green vinyl actually goes really well with this part of it. So yeah, but I don't normally go for velvets, but that just spoke to me so.
You're amazing. What you have to do is plan like a really luxurious like weekend break, and then you can make the bag for that occasion. So get it done.
Well, when I made the set that I made, we were going away for my friend's 50th. So I made them ready for going away for her 50th. And I made the small, the medium, and the large. And my goodness, that large is like literally like my youngest child could fit inside that bag.
Amazing.
And when I say child, she's 20. You know, she's just tiny. But yeah, it is huge.
Did you make it and then you were like, oh, and now the pressure is on for me to just pack loads and loads of stuff?
Oh no, I managed to pack. It was fine. You know, I managed to fill it. Not so much carrying it up the stairs to the room.
Gosh.
Like, Andy, do you want to carry? I'll carry yours, you carry mine. But it is a fantastic set. Not really hand luggage size friendly. For an airplane. You wouldn't get away with that at all. So, but yeah, Sheila's saying about it making an amazing carpet bag. Yeah, that was another thought that I had as well. So
yeah, lots of options then. That's really exciting. How much do you have of that velvet fabric?
I think there's just over 1 meter. So, because I think when I got it, I think I said 1 meter, and then there was only a little bit over 1 meter. So I said, oh, I'll just have it all.
Nice.
So there'll be plenty to either do, like the medium, because I wouldn't want to make another large traveler. Like nobody needs two that big in their lives. But yeah, there'll be definitely enough to do a medium one of those, or like I say, a decent size carpet bag as well.
Brilliant.
Got me thinking now.
This is what we want. We want to get you inspired.
I mean, that's just going to make me increase my pattern stash even more.
One day the stash will like reach a point and you're like, yes.
My stepdaughter the other week, which was because I was in like the sewing room. I'm very lucky to have a dedicated sewing room. And she come in and she'd said something that all the doors to my cupboards where all my fabric was open, which is not something that I do very often, because that's like admitting you've got a problem, isn't it? And she sort of looked and she went, what's going to happen with like all your fabric when you're not here, like basically when you die? And I just went, well, I'm sorry, but that's a you problem, not a me problem.
You have to start bag making soon.
Yeah, just don't sell it for what I told you it cost. So there'll be very detailed instructions left of what needs to happen. But yeah, I was like, yeah, it's definitely not that won't be a me problem. Because I think even if I never bought another piece of fabric, I still would never get through it all. But I think a lot of us are like that, aren't we?
Got to have the options.
Yeah. When I met Andy, I sort of said to him, you know, fabric collecting and sewing are two different hobbies. And sometimes they cross over and meet, and sometimes they just stay polar opposites and never ever cross. So, and he gets it now.
He's been trained. It sounds like he's been well trained with your visiting the shops as well.
Yeah, he's a bit of an enabler as well, to be honest with you, because he quite often comes in with vintage sewing machines that he's picked up in places, and because he knows I love them. And so yeah, he's a bit of an enabler, so he can't say anything about how much stuff I've got.
Amazing. Have you managed to get your vintage machines like working, or are they more sort of decorative?
No, they all work. They all like were pulled to bits, cleaned. I mean, to be fair, I'm sitting looking because they're on the top of the units up there. They don't get used as much as what they should, but I just like to look at them.
It is cool that
they do work.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, what's Mel say? Mel says, I've put mine in my will. My sisters wouldn't appreciate this stuff.
Yeah. It is a little bit over the top, but hey, it gives me pleasure. So
got to have your stuff that you enjoy.
Yeah, exactly. Keeps me out of trouble. That's what I say.
But like, if you know, people collect all kinds of things, right? No one's telling people that collect coins, like, when are you going to spend all those coins? It's
Yeah,
not
exactly. And I don't really drink and I don't smoke. So what else am I going to spend my money on if it's
exactly.
not in patterns?
The pandemic as well, where no one could do anything.
Mm-hmm.
Got
Exactly.
your hobbies to keep you going.
I mean, that was a really good thing for me during the pandemic, because I had a different business prior to the pandemic. I was self-employed, but I had a different business, which had to close completely. And, you know, my mental health at the beginning of the pandemic was just horrific. It was awful. The anxiety, you know, I don't think I slept for the first 2 weeks. It was just horrific. And then, but having sewing and being able to, you know, sew the scrubs and sew the wash bags, and, you know, it was an absolute lifesaver. It really was, you know. And I don't know what I would have done, because I'm not the type of person that can just sit around and do nothing. You know, I can't just sit and watch the telly. I've got to be doing something. When the telly's on, I've got to be doing something at the same time. So just sitting twiddling my thumbs when I was used to working 60, 70 hours a week was just awful. And but being able to put that skill to good use, and it really, I think, really did develop me skills as well, because I went from, you know, being able to sew a set of scrubs in like a day to whacking out 6 or 7 pairs in a day. It was like Mike Baldwin's like sweatshop in me down. You know?
Buy scrubs like that.
Yeah, had people like dropping off like fabric, and, you know, when fabric became a shortage and we were using duvets and all that sort of stuff, had people dropping duvets off. It was like there was some sort of, you know, illegal dealing going on. It like, you know, it's like just took over the house. But it was a sort of, like, say, something that really helped me get through that time. If I hadn't had sewing, I would have struggled even more than what I did. And it ultimately led on to me having a completely different career, because I never went back to my other business.
Yeah, so I was going to say, did all the sewing that you did with the scrubs and stuff, did that inspire you to start your bag making supplies business?
Yeah, it kind of just evolved. Sometimes I kind of turn around and go like how did it happen? Like, I mean, it isn't that I haven't put hard work in, because I work really hard, like I work really long hours, and, you know, I do, but it wasn't something that I made a conscious decision to do. It kind of just evolved, and before, and I was like, all right, okay. And I just found I was enjoying that side of things much more. And as I say, I never went back to do my other business. It made me realize that I didn't have the passion for that I've got for this.
Yeah, but I'm sure it brought you like some of the business skills that you needed for the new business as well.
Oh yeah, 100%.
From scratch.
Yeah, like being able to build my own website, and yeah, all that sort of like the technical, geeky, what I call the geeky bits, which I actually really do like. You know, I do quite enjoy the time taken, and the, you know, they take up a lot of, but I like all the analytics and the, you know, the SEO and the website-y things, and the but it's small business owners, you have to kind of know those, because you don't have the finances to pay somebody to do this or to pay somebody to do that, and so you have to learn a lot of the things. Even if you eventually go on to get somebody to do them, you first off have to learn how to do it yourself.
And I think it's good as well to learn a lot of that stuff, just so that you know what you need to know in a way. Like if you just pay someone and be like, website, they're like, okay, what do you want from me? Like, whereas if you're like, you know, I want this page improved, I want these results, then I think it's much better, and you know as well that what they're are offering you is like worth what you're paying them.
And you know as well what you really hate doing, that's worth giving to somebody else, or what somebody else can do way better than you. And then you also know what nobody else can do as well as what you can do. So which parts you have to keep in order for the business to grow, because there's some parts that you can't hand off to somebody else because they don't have your passion, they don't have your knowledge, you know, they don't have your skill set. So, but yeah, you wear a lot of hats as a small business owner.
Have you made any hats?
I have actually. I've made quite a few. I love making like flat caps. You know, the Yorkshire flat caps and the baker boy hats. I love making them. I've made quite a few of them.
Nice.
So
I feel
I'd
like
love to do like a proper sort of hat making course, like is it millinery they call it? Not to kind of go down that route or anything. I just love learning new skills because I think you can always incorporate them into the things that you do. You'll learn something for one thing and then you can pull it into something that you're already doing, because you think,
I'm sure there's lots of like cheeky little techniques in like, you know, high-end hat making that you're like, oh, that could be really useful.
Yeah, but see, it's getting the time to be able to kind of do stuff like that.
Yeah, but that would be really cool though. Everyone who's watching live, do let us know if you've got any questions for Deb in the chat before we run out of time.
Somebody's put, what's your favorite gadget for bag making? Oh, that's a really hard one, because like I'm an absolute bugger for gadgets. Like somebody says, oh, there's this gadget, I'm like, yeah, I'll have it. Like I'm really bad for it. But I'd say I actually go in for gadgets quite a bit and then don't use them. So I'd say probably gadget, I don't even know whether it is a gadget, but my heat press. Like that is game changing because of all the interfacing that you do as a bag maker. And our sort of block interface as well. So I'll trace all my pattern pieces onto my interface and block press it onto my fabric and then cut out. So that just speeds up the process so much.
So is this like those flat pressing machines with the top and you sandwich it?
Yeah, well, I've got one that's like that, but I've also got like this one.
Oh yeah.
Well, which I am actually using a little bit more at the moment. Mainly because the space behind us isn't massive and that doesn't take up as much space. And I find I can just move it where I need to.
You have to move the fabric with that.
Exactly.
Laid out and just move around.
Yeah. So I am that. I've only had that about 4 or 5 months now, but that's probably one of the things that I've bought in recent months that I do really like. I've not regretted buying. Whereas a lot of other things I see and I go, oh, I'm having that, and then you know I've got a set of drawers here and it's literally full of things that I've bought that I just don't really use. But like another thing I would say is rulers. I do use a lot of like quilting rulers quite a bit, and I've got lots of different, you know, like a 1/2 inch one, an inch one, like a little 2.5 inch, and I use them quite a bit. So I would say having a good set of good quality quilting rulers when you're bag making is definitely worth investing in.
So you're a rotary cutter then?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like
sorry, I was going to say I've got 3 different sizes of rotary cutters, so I'll switch.
They've got this to do the corners.
Yeah,
that's good. Yeah, I feel like rulers leads on well to Laura's question about, do you prefer working in metric or imperial?
I always work in inches. So, and I don't know which way around that is. I don't know whether that's metric or imperial, to be fair. I've got absolutely no idea. I'm probably old school. But yeah, I've always worked in inches. And I mean, I can work in centimetres, you know, for pattern is written in centimeters, then I can follow it. But I've then got to go and find a ruler. Usually got to go and ask one of the kids if they've got a ruler in their set that's got centimeters on, because all of my rulers are inches. My thing on my table is in inches. So yeah, I always, and if it is in centimeters, I'll usually convert it in inches in my head.
Yeah, so what Laura says is they have a mix of centimeter and inch rulers, so now they have to keep swapping between the two measurements, and then they have to buy more rulers, so now they have like two of everything. So you've picked a team and
I picked a team. Yeah, actually, me and my stepson were just having a conversation earlier on today about Celsius and Fahrenheit, and about, it was like, do we have Celsius or do we have Fahrenheit? And I'm like, no, we're old school. We still have Celsius.
I think Celsius is the new school.
Oh, is it?
One that makes no sense.
Oh, right. Okay. I thought we were, because being English, we usually so old, isn't it?
I think Celsius is the new one, which I think does make a lot more sense, because like 0 is freezing point. So
yeah,
it makes more sense, I think, because the numbers are really high in Fahrenheit. They're like, oh, it's been 68 today. And I'm like, is that cold? I don't. That sounds
really...
And
it'd actually be like 10 degrees or something like that. Yeah.
I'll see you later, Mel. Thanks so much for joining us.
Oh, Mel's lovely. I got to spend a lot of time with her when I was at the Stitch Festival with Emma.
Yeah, I feel like Mel's an incredible saleswoman, isn't she? She's just so enthusiastic.
We were just like... we spent so much time as well looking at everything that she had on, because like she had trousers that she'd made, and we were just like in awe of her sewing skills. They were just absolutely fantastic. So yeah,
so Mel had a similar like sort of experience with sewing the scrubs, but that was when she first started sewing, and she just went straight in with making loads of scrubs.
Wow.
Yeah.
That lady has elevated her sewing skills phenomenally, because like obviously seeing her makes up close were unreal.
Yeah, now she's getting into bag making thanks to you guys. So
yeah, we're pulling her over onto the dark side. Once we really is in, we don't let you go, mind.
Yeah, you're gonna have the bags whether you want to or not. You've got to try and get all the hardware.
100%.
Do you have like a particular way that you store your hardware? Do you have like little drawers or containers?
Massive big storage boxes. So I just kind of take what I need and deduct out stock when I need, rather than having a personal stash. I do it that way because I'd rather have stuff available for people than sitting in my drawers not getting used until I decide what I want to make with it. So what I tend to do is put it all into stock, and then I just like buy out of the business as I need it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, well, that's good as well, that the business stock is like everything that you could need. Yeah. So you've obviously got the whole collection there on your website.
Yeah. Or it's forever being added to. Or I was literally just sitting tinkering before we started, because there's a couple of more things to add. I can't get the photos right, so that's a job for tomorrow. So
we've got a shout out for Sheila on the Studio 77 stand team as well.
Yeah, I only briefly met Sheila when we were setting up, I think on the Wednesday, and then because I left on the Friday because Emma had broken me by then. And then I think she was helping on the Saturday or the Sunday after that. But Mel was there the entire time. She has so much stamina. I needed a little bit of that.
Yeah, sometimes you just got to have that person who gives you that to keep going.
I literally got across to King's Cross, got on the train, and just went. because it was just so busy. But that was really like my first proper experience of a big sewing festival. I've been to little sort of events before in the past, but I've really proper got the bug now. I don't think I'll ever do an event as a business, like having a stand or anything like that. But just to go and have the experience of going and, you know, mixing with people and seeing people who you only know online and stuff like that. Yeah, it was fab. Yeah, so I've got all of them in my diary now to see which ones I can get to that don't conflict with other things, and even if they're last minute.
It's really exciting to get to see people in person, isn't it? Especially if they're like people that you know online, and then they become suddenly tangible there in the real world.
Whoa. And it was lovely people coming up, and because they knew, you know, obviously I'd gone down to help Emma out, and you know, I'd said, oh, I'm going to be there and what have you, and people actually coming up to say hello, and I was like, yeah, like that's so nice, thanks. Like, I just couldn't get used to it. It was just so surreal, basically, but so lovely.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Really enjoyed it.
We're just like, everybody there has the same passion. Like, you know, everyone's talking about what are you wearing and how did you make it? And it's just like, oh,
yeah,
people.
Yeah, there was a lady came over who I don't use Instagram very much. I'm probably, again, a little too much old school. I'm much more Facebook. I think our Instagram, though, is still nothing to wear or something along those lines. And her stuff is just absolutely, it's just fantastic. And the things that she makes is like right up my street, real, like the style that I like. And yeah, and she was lovely, but it was just so nice. Everybody coming up to say hello.
Amazing.
Oh, that's Laura saying about coming up to sit starstruck, bless her.
Amazing.
It was just lovely. Everybody was just, I think, so to say it, the energy and the energy and just the entire place was just fantastic.
Yeah, I feel like you must have missed the day when it did a sudden hailstorm. I think that was on Saturday, maybe.
Yeah,
but that was crazy. They'd opened these like windows at the end of the hall, and then all the hail just started like coming in. So all the people in the stands like under the window were just getting like hailstorms. They were just like, close the window. It was crazy.
Yeah, definitely. That must have been like the Saturday or Sunday, because that wasn't when I was there. But because I was the Thursday, we were just so surprised at how busy it was. Like, we thought, oh, you know, we'll kind of be a little bit busy and then we'll go and have a bit wander off and look at different things. No, it was just manic, which was fantastic. It was brilliant for Emma that it was so busy, and people seem to be making a beeline for her stand. I think especially with the bag making, because it's a like niche for those type of events. You don't get many, so it was like fantastic to see.
Yeah, I think a lot of people with stuff like the Stitch Festival and Knitting and Stitching Show have started coming on the Thursday, because like maybe in the past they've been on the Sunday, which is the last day, and then they found certain things are sold out, so they're like,
yeah,
going on the first day, getting all the stuff I want. But yeah, it was really good to see a really good turnout on the first day.
Well, I jumped on like one of the stands because I've been after a ruler that I'd snapped and I haven't been able to get another one. And one of the stands had them, but they only had 2 rulers. And I'd seen it just after, as we were coming out after setting up. So when we got there on the Thursday morning, I went, right, before we do anything, I'm going to see that fella to go get that ruler because I need it.
Excellent.
All the way to London for a ruler, then that's fine. I can cope with that. But I got my ruler, so I was very happy.
Brilliant.
If I'd only been there on the Sunday, I wouldn't have gotten it.
Yeah. What puts you off doing a stand for Me Made Makes?
I think, one, where I live, the logistics of it would just be, you know, the costs it would incur for the logistics would be, it wouldn't make it feasible.
Yeah.
And then a couple of other reasons. One, I've got a couple of health conditions which would make it you know, it would make it difficult to sort of fully commit, you know, and if things went a little bit awry, I would never want to sort of say, oh yes, this is definitely going to happen, and then me not be able to do it. So yeah, but I definitely go and visit and have my t-shirt on.
Yeah. Well, she's booking again for next year, so maybe you can sneak
go and help her.
A bit of
I
stand.
might not do 3 full days. Like, she literally did break me, but
no, in the middle. That's really nice.
Yeah, no, it was good fun. But Emma, we are definitely booking somewhere closer. We're not doing the 2-hour commute backwards and forwards every morning and night.
Oh, not ideal.
Don't know what I'm talking about. Although those 2-hour commutes were good fun. We literally put the world to rights on them.
So have you got anything else you want to share with us before we wrap up this chat?
No, I don't think so. I think we've pretty much covered everything, haven't we?
Brilliant. All right. So I'll put links to your website, your Instagram, and your YouTube channel. But let me know if there's anything else you want to pop in the description. And anyone who managed to catch the whole chat, it's going to all be on YouTube like straight after this, so you can watch the bits that you've missed.
Fab. Well, I'll put a link. I'll do a blog post on my website and link to the thing. If there's any, you'll understand what I'm saying when I say this. If there's any specific keywords that you want me to use, pop it in an email, and I'll make sure I use those keywords in the blog post when I do it for you. And then I'll put it up in the next, might be beginning of next week because I'm away at the weekend, but I'll get it done in the next couple of days.
Brilliant, exciting. Emma says she's sorry for breaking you. They're going to book in a hotel next time.
She's not sorry at all. She enjoyed every single minute of it, as did I. It was just, to be fair, we were both broken. It was hard work, but so much fun. It was so much fun. But she's not sorry at all.
It's up for it again as well, so you won't be on your own.
I think we all had a really fun time, like, helping. Although it was working, it wasn't really working because it's
just hanging out with loads of awesome sewing people, isn't it? It's great.
Yeah. And having Mel cracking the whip.
I was like, I've made 80 sales in the last 5 minutes. What have you been doing? And
we were like, we've only just gone to the loo. Like, how have you done that?
Yeah, I feel like we've mentioned Mel and Emma a lot this episode. So I've chatted to Mel in episode 31 and Emma in episode 4. So check the playlist if you want to find out who these guys are that we're on about, if you haven't seen these episodes. But yeah, thanks everyone for joining, and thanks for sharing your sewing journey with us, Deb.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, amazing. And I'll be back next week with another amazing stash chat. So yeah, hopefully you can all join us next week. Bye.
See you later. Bye.